Well, good morning to you. Trucker Todd here, and time for another video. All right, folks, I've been getting some questions about it. One guy called me, was really concerned. Of course, we're talking about tariffs. They've been all over the news. What are they? Are they something you should be concerned about? How is it going to affect trucking and just the economy in general? In this video, I'm going to talk about those things. But let's talk about what affects me first. Give this video a thumbs up. Share this video on your social media platforms and make sure you're subscribed. This video is super important to share out because what I'm seeing on the news is a lot of misinformation. We need to kind of clear the air and set things straight. Now, let me say before I jump into this topic, I am not an economist. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a tax professional. I'm a truck driver just like you who does a lot of research and watches a lot of varying opinions, news stories, things like that. The views and opinions expressed in this video are mine and mine alone. It's okay if you disagree with me. Leave your comments below. I enjoy respectful disagreement. If you disagree with me, tell me why. Give me something articulate. Don't just tell me I'm stupid in the comments. Give me something I can work with. So let's talk about tariffs and how we got here. For those that aren't familiar with what a tariff is basically where we tax another country for things that they bring into this country. Let's take your favorite electronic device. Let's say a smartwatch, for example. And this one's an Apple, so this may not be the best example. But let's say that this smartwatch was made in China and it was shipped to the United States. The United States would put a tax on it, and China would pay that tax. In return, China would increase the price of that product to cover their taxes that they had to pay. Just like we pass our expenses on to the shipper when we haul their products, China would pass their stuff on to us. What you hope when that happens is that corporations decide, hey, maybe it's cheaper to build that product here in the United States and buy American. There was a big push to buy American back in the 80s. I'm not sure if you guys and gals remember that or not. But what you hope is that it increases domestic production. Now, what's happened, and this really started back in the 50s and 60s, but got real prevalent in the 70s and even more in the 80s. Actually, it's gone up a little ever since, is we all started looking for ways to get stuff cheaper. We didn't care if it was better, we just cared if it was cheaper. And a lot of things came out of this. It started, I can remember in the 50s and 60s when Toyotas started coming here, Nissans, back then they were called Datsuns, and it was a smaller, cheaper car. Now back then the big three was building land yachts and full-size pickups. Mazda came over with some pickups, Toyotas came over with some small cars, and they were smaller, cheaper, more fuel efficient. And people didn't care that they weren't built in the United States. They just wanted something cheaper. We've seen the same thing with the rise of fast food establishments. And from what I've seen lately, they're on their way down. But we didn't care about food quality so much as long as we got it fast. I remember recently I got a hamburger at McDonald's that one of the buns was missing. Now, how good is your quality control in the kitchen if you can't even get both pieces of the bun in the box? And so we all went for that 99-cent heart attack, the 99-cent burger in a bag. And that's gone away. I noticed last time I was at McDonald's, they have the McValue menu now instead of the dollar menu. And so we've seen it across the board. Stuff made in China, made in Taiwan. We know when we buy it, it's lesser quality, but it's cheaper. And we don't seem to mind that it's made by child labor, slave labor, things like that. We just want it cheaper. And as a result of that, we've become the Walmart of the world in this country. Things are not as often made in the United States as what they used to be. They're often shipped in, And the problem is now that along with AI, along with automation, have wiped out a lot of manufacturing jobs in this country. And so what does that mean for you and me? Well, in the short go, when these tariffs are implemented, it's going to hurt. Expect some growing pains in the economy. It's going to take some time to move some manufacturing back here. Several companies like Apple have announced that they're going to be doing some stuff here in the United States. It should be great for our steel companies. It should be great for our aluminum companies. I know everybody's worried about the big three automakers, but the same stuff they get from overseas, they can get here in the United States. And guess what? The prices will come down as the work increases. Competition will step in. It'll get cheaper. But it's going to take a few months, and there's going to be some growing pains. And the economists I've saw and listened to agree with me on this, that over the long haul, it's going to be better. What it's going to do is, right now we've got half the country that doesn't pay any income tax. And you say, well, everybody pays. It comes out of their paycheck. Yes, but they get it back in the form of earned income credit or tax refunds at the end of the year. So their net tax liability is nothing. In fact, in a lot of cases, we're paying them to be poor. Now, my wife at her work, she's got people right now that could be promoted, that could work extra hours, but they don't because it'll affect their food stamps. It'll affect their welfare. And it's not just at her work. There's a lot of companies like that where the people don't want to do better because they'll lose their government handout. And when you go to a situation like this, Trump's also talking about doing away with income tax as a result of these tariffs. Us truck drivers that are self-employed, that could mean huge savings. And for those of you that are always like, tax the rich, this does exactly that. And you say, how? Do you think if I made $1 million a year, I would buy more stuff than if I make $100,000 a year? Absolutely. So the people that spend more money are going to pay more in the way of tariffs. And it's not really tariffs, they're paying price increases as a result of those tariffs until stuff's made in the United States. The poor pay less because they spend less. This is going to encourage people, along with DOGE, the Department of Government Excess, cutting expenses and things like that, to where if you're a producer, you're going to be fine. If you're a worker, you're going to be fine. If you're a couch potato that doesn't want to work and you're waiting for your next handout, things might get a little tight. And that's the way it should be. It even talks about it in the Bible about if you don't work, you don't eat. It doesn't say it exactly that way, but it's basically what it means. And so I like it. I remember the old I guess it's not a nursery rhyme, the old children's story about the two that were making bread, and the mom and the son, and everybody she asked to help to make bread, nobody wanted to help. But then when the bread was done, everybody wanted some bread. And it's kind of that same way here. We've got half the country that really contributes to the economy and is basically pulling the sled, and half that's just riding around in the sled and they don't want to get out and do any of the work. And that's what's got to change. So I'm all for income taxes going away and maybe being replaced with a sales tax, maybe a flat tax, something like that. And I'm all for these tariffs. Now everybody's worried about Canada and Mexico. And from what I've seen so far, it looks like we're going to work some kind of deal out with them. Main thing is we want help with illegal immigration and fentanyl coming across the border. And if Canada and Mexico are willing to take an active role in stopping fentanyl coming across the border and illegal immigration. I believe the government is going to work something out with them. Now, I guess I should say also, I do not work for the government or the Trump administration. I have had no direct contact with them in their policies or what they might or might not do. However, that seems to be the direction that they're going with this. And I think there's deals to be made there. Anybody that has not read Donald Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, should check that book out. It'll really help you understand what he does and what he's all about. And I think in the long term, he's doing something right now that previous administrations didn't have the guts to do. Everybody knew it needed to be done, but everybody was scared to do it, including Donald Trump in his first term. He's doing it now because he's in his second term. He doesn't have to worry about re-election, and he knows it's what's best for the country. And I think we're all going to be better off as a result of it. So that's my thoughts on that. I'd love to know your thoughts. Leave them in the comments below. Let's keep it classy. Let's keep it respectful. And I'll catch you on the next video. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.